The air was thick with the sound of gunfire, a symphony of chaos and destruction that reverberated through the streets. The ground shook with the weight of tank treads, each rumble a stark reminder of the enemy's relentless advance. Smoke filled the sky, casting a grim shroud over the besieged city. The once vibrant skyline was now a silhouette of despair, obscured by thick, acrid clouds. Jerusalem, a city sacred to three faiths, had become a battleground. Its ancient walls and holy sites bore the scars of relentless bombardment, a stark contrast to their historical serenity. Israeli and Vietnamese peacekeepers fought side by side, their faces grim under the relentless assault. United by a common cause, their diverse backgrounds blended into a single determined force. They were hopelessly outnumbered, outgunned, their backs against the wall. Yet, their resolve remained unbroken, their spirits unyielding in the face of overwhelming odds. Among them were Kevin and Ezra, two soldiers whose bond had been forged in the fires of countless battles. Kevin, a Vietnamese captain, scanned the battlefield with the eyes of a hawk. His sharp gaze missed nothing, every movement, every shadow was noted and analyzed. Known for his tactical brilliance and unwavering resolve, his mind was a chessboard, each piece a soldier, each move a strategy to outwit the enemy. His hand rested on the hilt of his combat knife, a silent promise to fight to his last breath. The knife was more than a weapon, it was a symbol of his commitment and courage. Beside him stood Ezra, an Israeli tank commander, his face smeared with grime and sweat. Ezra's presence was a pillar of strength, his calm demeanor a source of inspiration for those around him. Ezra was a rock, immovable, his gaze fixed on the enemy lines. His eyes, hardened by the horrors of war, reflected a determination that was unbreakable. His fingers danced over the controls of his tank, a steel predator amidst the chaos. Each command was executed with precision, the tank an extension of his will. They were tasked with protecting an ancient relic, a key to humanity's survival. This relic, shrouded in mystery, was believed to hold the power to turn the tide of the war. The relic, housed in a fortified bunker beneath the city, was their last hope. Its protection was paramount, and failure was not an option. The fate of the world rested on their shoulders.
Jacqueline Parker, a seasoned sergeant, led her squad with unwavering determination. Her voice cut through the chaos, a beacon of leadership amidst the turmoil. "Hold the line! We cannot let them breach the bunker!" she commanded, her eyes blazing with resolve.
Sergeant Maria Silva, a sniper with unparalleled precision, took her position on a rooftop. Her scope scanned the battlefield, every shot a calculated strike. "Target down," she whispered, her voice steady, her aim true.
Kevin Lee, ever the strategic mind behind the defense, monitored the battle from the command center. His orders were precise, his strategies flawless. "Deploy reinforcements to the eastern flank. We must hold our ground," he instructed, his voice calm and authoritative.
Nadia Amina Asra, a dedicated medic, moved swiftly through the chaos, tending to the wounded. Her hands were steady, her heart filled with compassion. "Stay with me, you're going to be okay," she reassured, her voice a soothing balm amidst the pain. Nadia Amina Amal, an engineer, worked tirelessly to keep the equipment operational. Her expertise was crucial, her resolve unshakable. "We can't afford any downtime. Every second counts," she muttered, her focus unwavering.
"Kevin, we have a situation!" Ezra's voice crackled through the comms, a tremor of urgency in his tone. "Faye, the PLA marshal, he's gone rogue. He's heading straight for the bunker." Kevin's blood ran cold. He knew Faye, a staunch nationalist with a warped sense of patriotism. He had suspected Faye might betray them, but he had hoped he was wrong. "Ezra, we need to stop him. The relic, it's our only chance." They fought their way through the relentless enemy waves, their movements synchronized, a deadly ballet of bullets and blades. Each step towards the bunker was a victory, each fallen comrade a heavy price to pay. They could hear the roar of Faye's mech suit approaching, a metallic shriek that sent chills down their spines. Time was running out. They found Faye at the entrance of the bunker, his mech suit towering over them like an iron golem. His eyes, once filled with conviction, now burned with madness. "Get out of my way," Faye roared, his voice distorted by the mech's speakers. "This world is beyond saving. Xi Jinping's path is the only way."
"Faye, don't do this," Azra pleaded, her voice barely audible above the din of battle. "There's still hope." But Faye was beyond reason. He raised his weapon, a plasma cannon that hummed with deadly energy. In that moment of crisis, Ezra acted. He lunged forward, tackling Faye away from the bunker's entrance. A blinding flash of light filled the air, followed by a deafening explosion that shook the very foundations of the city. The relic was gone.
The explosion threw Kevin back, the sheer force of it sending him sprawling across the battlefield. The impact was so intense that it knocked the air from his lungs, leaving him gasping for breath. He coughed violently, struggling to his feet, his ears ringing with a high-pitched whine that drowned out all other sounds. The air was thick with acrid smoke and the stench of burnt metal, a suffocating mix that made his eyes water. Through the haze, he saw Ezra lying motionless on the ground, his body eerily still amidst the chaos. "Ezra!" Kevin shouted, his voice cracking with fear. He rushed to his side, his heart pounding in his chest like a war drum. Ezra was alive, but barely. His breaths were shallow and his eyes fluttered open with great effort. He was badly wounded, his body riddled with shrapnel, each piece a cruel reminder of the battle they were losing. "We have to go, Kevin," Ezra gasped, his voice weak and strained. "There's something else coming, something far worse." Kevin knew they couldn't stay. The city was lost, a desolate wasteland of destruction and despair. He hoisted Ezra onto his back, the weight of his friend a heavy burden, and fought their way through the remaining enemy forces, their escape a desperate race against time, every second a precious commodity they couldn't afford to waste. They reached the extraction point, their bodies aching and minds numb from the relentless onslaught. It was a hastily established landing zone on the outskirts of the city, a fragile beacon of hope amidst the ruins. A Globemaster transport aircraft, its engines screaming with urgency, awaited them, ready to whisk them away from the nightmare that had engulfed their world.
The Globemaster cut through the morning sky, leaving the ruins of Jerusalem behind. The city, once a beacon of history and culture, now lay in shambles, a testament to the relentless conflict that had ravaged it. The aircraft's engines roared, a sound that had become all too familiar in these times of turmoil. Kevin stared out the window, his face etched with exhaustion and grief. The weight of recent events bore heavily on his shoulders, each memory a painful reminder of the sacrifices made. He could still hear the echoes of the battles, the cries of the fallen, and the haunting silence that followed. The rising sun painted the clouds in hues of red and orange, a stark contrast to the darkness that had fallen upon the world. It was a cruel irony, Kevin thought, that such beauty could exist in a world so marred by destruction. The dawn brought with it a fleeting sense of hope, but also a reminder of the long road ahead. Ezra lay on a makeshift cot, his breathing shallow but steady. The makeshift medical setup was a stark reminder of their dire circumstances. Supplies were running low, and every breath Ezra took was a small victory in their ongoing struggle for survival.
The medics had managed to stabilize him, but his condition remained critical. They worked tirelessly, their faces masks of concentration and worry. Each moment was a battle against time, and they knew that any misstep could be fatal. He had saved Kevin's life, and possibly the fate of humanity, but at a terrible cost. Kevin couldn't shake the guilt that gnawed at him. Ezra's sacrifice weighed heavily on his conscience, a constant reminder of the price of their mission.
Ezra stirred, his voice a raspy whisper. We failed. The relic, it's gone." His words were like a dagger to Kevin's heart. The relic had been their last hope, a beacon in the darkness, and now it was lost. "We did what we could," Kevin replied, his voice steady but filled with sorrow. He knew the truth of Ezra's words, but he also knew they couldn't afford to give up. Not now, not ever. "Ezra," Kevin said, placing a reassuring hand on his friend's shoulder. "You saved us all. Your bravery and sacrifice won't be in vain. We will find another way. We have to." Ezra coughed, a spasm of pain contorting his features. "It's not over, Kevin." His eyes, though filled with pain, held a spark of determination. He knew the fight was far from finished. This is just the beginning. His words were a stark reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. They had survived this far, but the road to true peace and restoration was still long and fraught with peril. His words hung heavy in the air, a chilling prophecy of the darkness to come. The sky above mirrored their uncertain future, dark clouds gathering on the horizon, hinting at the storms yet to come. But within that darkness, there was also a glimmer of hope, a promise that they would continue to fight, no matter the cost.
Section 6. Whispers of the Unknown. News of the relic's destruction spread like wildfire, igniting fear and uncertainty across the globe. Governments scrambled to assess the situation, their intelligence agencies working overtime to gather information. The scientific community was baffled. The relic, an enigma of unknown origin, had been shrouded in mystery for centuries. Its sudden disappearance had left a void, a crack in the fabric of reality itself. Rumors and speculation ran rampant. Some whispered of ancient prophecies, of a coming storm that would engulf the world. Others spoke of interdimensional beings waiting in the shadows, their arrival heralded by the relic's destruction. The world held its breath, bracing for the unknown.
Section 7. The Walls Between Worlds. Deep within the bowels of the Pentagon, a clandestine meeting was underway. Top military officials, intelligence analysts, and scientific advisors huddled around a holographic table, their faces grim as they studied the latest data. The energy surge at the time of the relic's destruction, it was off the charts, a scientist reported, his voice trembling slightly. It was like a rift in space-time was torn open. And what came through that rift? A general asked, his voice low and dangerous. What exactly are we dealing with? The room fell silent. No one had a definitive answer, but the fear in their eyes spoke volumes. The walls between worlds had weakened, and something sinister was stirring on the other side.
Section 8. To face the abyss. Kevin sat alone in the dimly lit cargo hold of the Globemaster, lost in thought. The weight of their failure pressed down on him, a heavy burden he couldn't shake off. He thought of the fallen, of the countless lives lost in the defense of a relic they barely understood, and he thought of Ezra, his friend, his comrade, lying injured in the next compartment. The world was on the brink of chaos, and he felt utterly powerless to stop it. But he had to do something. He had to find a way to warn the others, to prepare them for the coming storm. He couldn't let Ezra's sacrifice be in vain. Section 9. Echoes of Defiance. The Globemaster touched down at a secure airbase, its arrival shrouded in secrecy. Kevin emerged from the aircraft, his steps heavy, his gaze fixed on the horizon. The world was changing, and he could feel it in his bones. The old order was crumbling, and a new era was dawning. An era of chaos, of conflict, of interdimensional war. He didn't know what the future held, but one thing was certain. Humanity would face it together, or it would perish in the fires of its own destruction. The echoes of defiance reverberated across the globe, a testament to the indomitable spirit of mankind. The fight for survival had just begun.